At 11:48 p.m., a 31-year-old graphic designer finally closes her work laptop. She has worked from the same apartment all day. There was no traffic, no crowded train, no long drive home. The bedroom is only a few steps away. Yet instead of turning off the lights, she reaches for her phone. One short video becomes 5 become 20. A message arrives from a friend. An online sale catches her attention. Midnight quietly slips into 1 o'clock, then nearly 2. She knows tomorrow's morning meeting starts at 9. She also knows she'll regret staying awake. But in this moment, going to sleep feels like giving up the only hours that truly belong to her. The strange part is that nothing feels urgent anymore. Work is over. The deadlines are finished for the day. Yet her mind refuses to let the day end. The silence of the apartment feels different after hours of meetings, notifications, and constant availability. These late-night hours become something private, something protected. Sleep begins to feel less like rest and more like another responsibility waiting on tomorrow's checklist. Remote work promised something many people had always wanted. Without a daily commute, millions expected to gain extra time, lower stress, and healthier sleep. In many ways, they did gain time. Yet researchers noticed an unexpected pattern. Many people who worked entirely from home did not spend those extra hours sleeping. Instead, they delayed bedtime, even when they were already exhausted. Psychologists call one version of this behavior revenge bedtime procrastination. Rather than being caused by poor time management alone, it reflects something deeper. After a day filled with obligations, many people feel an intense need to reclaim personal freedom. Bedtime becomes the only period that feels completely under their own control. Ironically, the more valuable these hours feel, the more sleep gets pushed aside. This makes remote workers a unique group. Traditional sleep advice often assumes that removing a commute automatically creates healthier routines. But working from home can blur the boundary between professional life and personal life. When the office is always nearby, the workday often feels as though it never fully ends. That psychological overlap changes the meaning of bedtime itself. Sleep is not controlled simply by how tired someone feels. It depends on several biological systems working together. One of the most important is the circadian rhythm, the body's internal clock, which helps regulate when we naturally become alert and when we become sleepy. Decades of research in circadian biology, including the work of Dr. Charles A. Teisler at Harvard Medical School and Brigham and Women's Hospital, has shown that this internal timing system is strongly influenced by light exposure, daily routines, and consistent sleep schedules. For many remote workers, those timing signals become weaker. Morning routines are shorter. Some people wake up only minutes before opening their laptop. Lunch happens at the same desk where meetings take place. The transition between work and home disappears because both happen in the same physical space. Over time, the brain receives fewer clear signals that one part of the day has ended and another has begun. Then comes the evening. After hours spent responding to emails, video calls, and digital notifications, the brain begins searching for experiences that feel rewarding rather than demanding. Social media, streaming platforms, online shopping, and games are designed to provide small, unpredictable rewards. Neuroscientists have long described how these variable rewards activate dopamine pathways involved in motivation and anticipation. The goal is not simply pleasure. Instead, the brain keeps expecting that the next swipe, next video, or next notification might be even more satisfying than the last at the same time. Another biological process is unfolding. Evening exposure to bright screens can delay the release of melatonin, the hormone that helps signal nighttime to the body. Research published by Harvard Medical School has highlighted that blue-enriched light in the evening can shift circadian timing and reduce feelings of sleepiness. This does not mean every phone automatically causes insomnia. It means that extended exposure, particularly late at night, can make it easier to stay awake when the body would otherwise begin preparing for sleep. The result is a powerful feedback loop. Psychological freedom encourages someone to stay awake just a little longer. Digital entertainment keeps the brain engaged. Light exposure delays the body's natural sleep signals. By the time genuine sleepiness arrives, the clock is much later than intended. The next morning begins with fatigue, making self-control more difficult the following evening. Without realizing it, the cycle quietly repeats night after night. This cycle has another consequence that is less obvious. The more often someone sacrifices sleep to reclaim personal time, the harder it becomes to make different choices the next evening. Sleep loss affects the brain regions responsible for planning, impulse control, and decision-making. Research led by Dr. Matthew Walker at the University of California, Berkeley, along with decades of sleep research published in journals such as Nature and Sleep, has shown that insufficient sleep reduces the brain's ability to regulate attention and resist immediate rewards. In other words, The very act of staying up late can make it more likely to happen again. Psychologists have also found that revenge bedtime procrastination is not simply about poor discipline. A 2021 study led by Daphne K. Lee and colleagues examined how feelings of low control during the day were associated with delaying bedtime for leisure activities. Their findings suggested that bedtime procrastination often reflects an attempt to recover a sense of personal autonomy rather than a simple failure of time management. For many remote workers, a common belief is that remote work automatically improves sleep because the commute disappears. On paper, the math seems convincing. If someone saves an hour every day by working from home, that should mean an extra hour available for sleep. The reality is more complicated. Whose work and home environments overlap, that desire for control can become especially powerful. Research conducted during and after the widespread shift to remote work found that many people did sleep slightly longer, but many also developed later bedtimes and less consistent sleep schedules. Studies published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine and reports discussed by the American Academy of Sleep Medicine describe how flexible work arrangements can blur daily routines. Instead of protecting sleep, flexibility sometimes encourages people to delay it because there is no immediate need to wake early for a commute. The myth is not that commuting is healthy. The myth is that removing the commute automatically creates healthier evenings. For many remote workers, the challenge shifts from finding enough time to sleep to deciding when the workday truly ends. The research does not point to one perfect solution. Instead, it consistently suggests that clear boundaries between work and personal life matter. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine emphasizes the importance of maintaining regular sleep schedules because the circadian system responds best to consistency rather than constantly changing bedtimes. Research from Harvard Medical School and circadian scientists such as Charles A. Teisler also suggests that evening light exposure influences the body's internal clock. Studies indicate that reducing bright light close to bedtime may help support the natural rise of melatonin, although individual responses vary depending on age, lifestyle, and overall health. Finally, psychological research on revenge bedtime procrastination suggests that people who experience greater autonomy and opportunities for genuine leisure during the day may feel less pressure to reclaim those hours late at night. Rather than viewing bedtime as the enemy of freedom, healthy routines become easier when personal time exists before exhaustion takes over. The apartment is quiet again. The same designer places her phone face down on the bedside table. The unread notifications are still there. The videos will still exist tomorrow. What has changed is not the amount of time she has, but how that time feels. The hours before sleep no longer carry the weight of reclaiming an entire day. For many people working from home, the real challenge is not a missing commute. It is the invisible line between work and life that slowly disappears. Understanding that difference may explain why bedtime sometimes feels so difficult to reach. If this story felt familiar, you may find more of our documentaries exploring the hidden science behind stress, sleep, and everyday mental health.